Tessa leans on Daniel during a tough day with Arya. Jack makes a sacrifice for Billy, and Phyllis takes a risky business leap. What's next for Genoa City on August 1st? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, August 1st, reveal big decisions and emotional moments in Genoa City. Tessa struggles with parenting alone. Jack makes a major sacrifice for Billy, and Phyllis moves forward with a risky new partnership despite concerns. Here's a look at what fans can expect in Friday's episode of YNR. Tessa will spend time in the park with little Arya, trying to make the most of their day without Mariah. Arya is still confused about Mariah's absence, and Tessa finds it challenging to keep her daughter distracted from the emotional strain. That's when Daniel spots the pair and offers to help. Daniel steps in to ease the tension, making Arya smile and giving Tessa a much-needed break. He's also there for Tessa emotionally, lending a listening ear and showing genuine support. This moment will bring Daniel and Tessa closer, which could later impact his relationship with Heather and even create new tension for Mariah. Jack makes a sacrifice for Billy's future. Over at the Abbott mansion, Jack makes a major decision that affects both his brother and their professional lives. Wanting to stop enabling Billy, Jack chooses to step back, possibly even from Abbott Communications altogether. There's also a chance that Jack may join forces with Kane, especially if he thinks it will support Billy's independence while giving him leverage against Victor. Either way, Jack's surrender marks a big change in his approach to family and business. Phyllis takes a risk on a new alliance. After returning from a stressful trip to Nice, Phyllis reconnects with her son, Daniel. She tells him about her surprising decision to team up with Billy again, even after their past conflicts. Daniel is clearly concerned, especially since he doesn't trust Billy or Kane. Despite his warnings, Phyllis defends her choices and insists on moving forward with this new business plan. She's also still working with Kane, which only adds to Daniel's worries. Phyllis is ready to gamble on this partnership, even if it might lead to trouble. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, July 31st. Fans will see major relationship shifts and deep concerns over risky behavior. Nick and Sharon will revisit the kiss they shared at the hospital, while Kyle's actions stir red flags for Jack and Diane. Meanwhile, Victor prepares to confront Kane and attempts to strengthen the Newman family. Nick and Sharon will have a serious conversation about their recent kiss. While Nick was still recovering, he pulled Sharon into a passionate moment. Now that the crisis is past and Nick is being released from the hospital, he might rethink his decision. The spoilers suggest Nick will have doubts about crossing the line between friendship and romance. Sharon, who has secretly had feelings for Nick, may agree it's better to slow down, though she'll likely feel disappointed inside. The two will try to figure out what's next for their relationship without damaging the bond they've built over the years. Victor prepares for a fight with Kane. Elsewhere, Victor will continue planning a strategy against Kane. He's looking to bring the Newman family together and make sure everyone is aligned before facing any external threats. Victor plans to protect the company and make sure Kane doesn't gain more influence. Back in Genoa City, Jack and Diane will notice warning signs in Kyle's behavior. Kyle is still upset about being stuck in Nice, without phone service, while Claire was mourning Cole's death. He blames Audra for manipulating him, and his anger is only growing stronger. Jack and Diane fear Kyle might take things too far in trying to get back at Audra. They know how dangerous Kyle can become when he's focused on revenge. His emotional state has them concerned that he'll make poor decisions. Claire may be kept in the dark. Kyle also has a decision to make about whether to tell Claire the truth. He recently uncovered Victor's involvement in setting him up with Audra, an effort to break up his relationship with Claire. But with Claire still grieving, Kyle may decide this isn't the right time to reveal that information. Considering the way Kyle tried to prove Audra's role, getting physically close to her, he may realize the situation is too complicated. For now, Claire might be better off without knowing the full story. Nate reveals heartbreaking news to Amy, Victoria and Adam make a surprising decision, and Victor targets Kane in the Young and the Restless July 30th episode. Here's what to expect in Genoa City. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, July 30th, tease an emotional and intense episode in Genoa City. Nate will be forced to break some devastating news to Amy, while Victoria and Adam work together on a family matter. Meanwhile, Victor sets his sights on revenge as tensions continue to rise. Nate meets Amy in the park with a heavy heart. After learning from Lily about Damien's murder, Nate has no choice but to share the heartbreaking news. Amy, who is hopeful about rebuilding her relationship with Damien, is stunned and heartbroken. She breaks down in tears as Nate reveals the details of Damien's grim fate. Since Amy has been making progress in her treatment, this update hits especially hard. Nate does his best to comfort her, but the moment is filled with sorrow as Amy realizes her second chance with Damien is gone forever. Victoria and Adam take a positive step. Elsewhere, Victoria and Adam come together to make an important decision. Following the death of Cole, the two siblings have slowly begun to reconnect. In this episode, they agree to continue working on their relationship and building a more peaceful dynamic. Adam stands by Victoria as she deals with her grief, and their shared support marks a big change from the tension they once had. This growing bond between the two should please their father, Victor, who has long hoped for unity among his children. Victor plans to take down Cain. Victor is not in a forgiving mood when it comes to Cain. After recent events on his estate resulted in fatalities and Nick's injury, Victor holds Cain fully responsible. In typical Victor fashion, he's already planning his next move. Victor is ready to take Cain down and teach him a lesson. Although Cain has plans to return to Genoa City and pursue his goals, he may find that Victor is standing in his way. Trouble is brewing, and Cain could soon face serious consequences. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, July 29th, tease high-stakes drama as Genoa City reels from a party that turned deadly. With lives lost and secrets exposed, tensions will rise across the board. Cain faces blame for fatal party disaster. Cain will come under fire for hosting the party that ended in disaster. Although Carter was the one truly responsible for the violence, Cain will still face harsh criticism from other characters and guests. The backlash comes as Damien, Chance, and Carter's deaths continue to cause shockwaves across Genoa City. Despite the tension, Cain won't be entirely alone. Phyllis and Billy will both stand by him and defend his actions. Their support will be important in helping Cain handle the pressure, and it may even open the door for future partnership among the three. Nate learns about Damien's death. Lily will break the news to Nate about the death of Damien. While Nate didn't have a long relationship with The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, August 1st, move into the last days of summer with Tessa finally seeing some light at the end of her very dark Mariah tunnel as a mysterious figure steps up with answers. Tessa gets help. Tessa, Kate Fairbanks, was blindsided when Mariah, Cameron Grimes, returned from what should have been a run-of-the-mill business trip, only to announce that she was leaving Tessa and Arya. Mariah wouldn't explain why, what happened, or who put her into such a state. Tessa was given no choice but to accept it. But Tessa has never been very good at just accepting things. Hey, remember when she wouldn't give up looking for her missing sister? Or when she kidnapped Sharon Case? Tessa goes full tilt for what she believes in. So, when a stranger approaches her with information, Tessa leaps on it. Is she putting herself and Arya into even more danger? Daniel isn't so sure. Phyllis, Michelle Stafford, who revealed a stunning talent, is back in Genoa City, and she is full of big plans. Phyllis shares those plans with Daniel, Michael Graziadei. She is super excited. Daniel is cautious. Phyllis, Michelle Stafford, who revealed a stunning talent, is back in Genoa City, and she is full of big plans. Phyllis shares those plans with Daniel, Michael Graziadei. She is super excited. Daniel is cautious. Haven't they had this conversation before? More than once? Phyllis explains what she's going to do, and Daniel tries to bring her down to earth. When has Phyllis ever been brought back down to earth? Why does Daniel even still try? Why is Phyllis still surprised? Jack makes a sacrifice. Jack, Peter Bergman, doesn't like what Billy, Jason Thompson, is doing. He threatened to stop supporting him financially. Billy, threw one of his patented tantrums. Will it be enough to change Jack's mind? Especially now that Billy wants to team up with Phyllis? Jack may step in just to save them both from themselves. Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless promises big changes and emotional turns for your favorite characters. Tessa tries to cope with parenting without Mariah. Jack makes a strong choice about Billy's future, and Phyllis moves ahead with a risky business partnership, despite warnings. Let's break it down. Tessa finds help when she least expects it. Tessa heads out to the park with little Arya, doing her best to lift her daughter's mood in the absence of Mariah. But it's not easy. Arya clearly misses her other mom, and Tessa is visibly struggling to hold things together. That's when Daniel comes across them and offers a helping hand. He lightens the mood, gets Arya to smile, and gives Tessa a breather. He also provides emotional support, listening to her worries and offering comfort. This shared moment may deepen their connection, which could lead to awkward moments later, especially for Mariah and Heather. Jack steps back to push Billy forward. Meanwhile, at the Abbott household, Jack is preparing to make a tough call. He wants Billy to stand on his own feet and decides to stop making things easy for him. In doing so, Jack might even consider stepping away from Abbott Communications. There's a possibility he may align with Kane if it helps Billy grow and gives Jack more control in the long run. Either way, Jack's choice signals a shift in how he handles both family and business matters. Phyllis bets big despite Daniel's concerns. Back from a stressful trip to Nice, Phyllis meets with her son, Daniel. She breaks the news about her unexpected decision to work with Billy again, despite their messy history. Daniel isn't thrilled. He's already worried because Kane is also involved in her plans. Still, Phyllis is determined to go ahead. She believes this deal is worth the risk, even if it puts her at odds with her son. She's ready to move full speed into this new partnership, no matter how shaky it seems from the outside. His half-brother, he had recently started bonding with him. The news will hit Nate hard, especially because of the impact it will have on Amy. Nate will be left to process this emotional blow as he thinks about what could have been. It's a difficult loss, and it will leave Nate questioning what might have come from his growing connection with Damien. Meanwhile, Kyle and Audra's ongoing conflict will take a dangerous turn. Their disagreement may lead them straight into the aftermath of the crime scene. There's a chance they'll come across a shocking sight, possibly the bodies being removed or evidence being cleared. Whether it pulls them closer or adds more fuel to their tension remains to be seen, but danger will definitely surround their storyline. Amanda helps Kane with the police. As the police investigate what happened at the party, Amanda will step in to assist Kane. She'll help him deal with authorities and reassure him that he's in the clear legally. Still, Kane will wrestle with guilt over everything that happened on his watch, even though he didn't. On the Friday, August 1st, episode of Young and Restless, teasers indicate that Jack, Peter Bergman, makes a sacrifice for Billy, Jason Thompson. Also, Daniel, Michael Graziadei, is skeptical of Phyllis's, Michelle Stafford, latest plan. Lastly, Tessa, Kate Fairbanks, receives help from a new friend. Scroll or click through the Y&R gallery for a sneak peek at the drama that will be kicking things off, and check out the full promo for the week. Tessa, Kate Fairbanks, appears lost in thought while she sits with Arya, Millie, and Maddie Engel in Chancellor Park. Is she replaying all of the heartbreaking moments she continues to share with her wife Mariah lately? She's been so worried about her, but the frustration of not being able to reach her emotionally is clearly taking a toll. Daniel, Michael Graziadei, arrives as Tessa tries to entice her daughter to play with a ladybug toy. Will Daniel notice that Tessa seems distracted by her worries? She certainly is always there to listen to him when he gets upset about missing Heather. Daniel must have noticed that things seem worse for Tessa, so he sticks around to be the sounding board she needs during this trying time. How much about what is happening with Mariah will she share with him? Will it be awkward when Tessa, Arya, and Daniel run into his mother Phyllis, Michelle Stafford, at Crimson Lights? Phyllis has just returned from that nightmare in Nice. Will she update them on the murders that have recently happened overseas? Phyllis probably won't be thrilled to run into Diane, Susan Walters, at Crimson Lights. These two had enough of each other in Nice, but will they end up on the same side if Jack and Diane team up with Kane against Victor? Phyllis has already made it clear that she's Team Kane. Billy, Jason Thompson, is back in the Abbott mansion. Is he there to enjoy a family breakfast, or is he hoping to make peace with his big brother Jack? These two said a lot of hurtful things to each other in Nice. Is Billy trying to get Jack to join Team Kane, Or could this be about something else entirely? Billy appears to have found someone interesting to speak with at society. Who is it that he's run into, and will the interaction turn out to be a pleasant one? Diane and Jack, Peter Bergman, appear very happy to be back home in Genoa City after their honeymoon trip turned into a nightmare in Nice. Will they ever get a proper romantic getaway, or will the inevitable war involving Kane Ashby keep them stuck in town? Billy, Jason Thompson, is back in the Abbott mansion. Is he there to enjoy a family breakfast, or is he hoping to make peace with his big brother Jack? These two said a lot of hurtful things to each other in Nice. Is Billy trying to get Jack to join Team Kane, or could this be about something else entirely? Billy appears to have found someone interesting to speak with at society. Who is it that he's run into, and will the interaction turn out to be a pleasant one? Diane and Jack, Peter Bergman, appear very happy to be back home in Genoa City after their honeymoon trip turned into a nightmare in Nice. Will they ever get a proper romantic getaway, or will the inevitable war involving Kane Ashby keep them stuck in town? The previous episode of The Young and the Restless saw Victor teaching Kane a hard lesson. Meanwhile, Victoria and Adam called a truce on their sibling rivalry and feuds. Last but definitely not least, Nate shared some bad news with Amy about Damien's death. Now that the murder mystery drama is behind everyone and the aftermath of the 3 deaths is looming, things are about to get tense. Here's what fans can expect from the July 31st, 2025 episode of The Young and the Restless when they tune in to CBS to watch the hit daytime drama series. The episode on Thursday features Victor reunited with his family. Things are about to get messy now that everyone is returning home, and Kane is also returning as a resident after 8 years. The fight between him and Victor is only starting, and this might just start to involve everybody's loved ones. When the Newman patriarch unites his family, will this be a family meeting to inform them of the war ahead? Or is this about uniting once again after weeks of being apart? On the other hand, Jack and Diane worry about Kyle. And why wouldn't they be? Their son is as unpredictable as ever. He refuses to stop being stubborn and actively plays with fire, going up against Audra and Victor. And then there's the fact that Cole died while they were all away, and Kyle's girlfriend Claire has been distraught and grieving alone. Is he going to make it up to her in some way for not being there? How will Claire react when she finds out about the intimacy between Kyle and Audra? Will she tell him about her own closeness with Holden while she was reeling with the loss of her father? And last but not least, Nick and Sharon's relationship is about to get even more complicated than ever. The two were in love, had gotten married, had kids, and divorced over the last few decades, but managed to remain cordial friends and co-parents. Every trouble saw them stand by each other's side as the best support system they could want. Sharon got kidnapped and was a captive, not once but actually twice recently. And then during the France trip, Nick was being framed for Damien's murder. He got injured during the escape attempt, and the tension and proximity led to them missing once again. But will the situation actually reunite them or cause even more problems? Stay tuned to The Young and the Restless to find out. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Thursday, July 31st, reveal Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, unites his family following the nightmare in France. Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, worry about their son, Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller. Meanwhile, things get complicated for Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, and Sharon Newman, Sharon Case. On Thursday, Victor and the others are finally back in Genoa City. The Young and the Restless, spoilers say the homecoming leads to heartfelt reunions with loved ones. Victor summons his children to the ranch to discuss Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and show their support to Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, and Claire Newman, Haley Aaron. At the Tack House, Victoria tells Claire that Victor called a meeting at the main house. However, Claire wants to see Kyle first. Later, Victoria arrives at the ranch solo and hugs her parents. Victor and Nikki offer their condolences as she mourns the death of Cole Howard, J. Eddie Peck. Then, Victor looks for Claire and realizes she went to see Kyle first. Victoria asks him to let it go already. Meanwhile, Kyle and Claire meet up at the park. The Young and the Restless, spoilers say Claire races into Kyle's arms and embraces him. Claire wants to hear about everything, but Kyle decides to hold it off. He wants to hear about her first. Also reuniting are Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. The two talk about what happened in Nice, particularly to Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers. Meanwhile, Diane worries about how Claire will react when she finds out what happened with Audra and Kyle. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Diane hopes Victor will just let this go and focus on Kane. Later, Kyle tells his parents how hard things are for Claire. He hasn't told her about Victor and Audra's scheme yet, thinking now is not the right time. Jack and Diane. Kyle will certainly feel extremely guilty for what he has done. Kyle will soon get back to Genoa City and find out what happened to Cole Howard, Jay, Eddie Peck. Kyle will have to face the fact that while he was in Nice getting it on with Audra. However, Claire has no idea that any of this has happened. Will she learn the truth? The truth will come out, probably delivered by Victor along with a contract signed by Kyle himself. Kyle will certainly feel bad for hurting Claire, but Victor will feel triumphant with his "I told you so." Try as he might, Kyle will want to keep Claire in the dark, but there is no way this will happen. Kyle will be held accountable in the end. Claire Newman will not let this go. Claire will be devastated by Kyle's betrayal. How many times did she voice her concerns about Audra? How many times did Kyle dismiss her concerns? How many times did Victor warn her what was going to happen? Claire will be devastated, and Kyle will see that in her eyes. Kyle may have sworn that he loved Claire, but he certainly didn't prove it. However, Kyle agreed to pay Victor $5 million as well as agreeing to move away from Genoa City. Kyle agreed to this because he believed he could keep Audra away from him. What will Kyle do now that he has to face the consequences? Victor will certainly force Kyle to pay him the $5 million that he agreed to pay. However, Kyle may find a way to get out of leaving down. Unfortunately, Kyle must also face whatever fine print that Victor added. How much will Kyle's little tryst with Audra cost Kyle in the end? The Young and the Restless spoiler reveal that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, will pay dearly for the horrible way he betrayed Claire Newman, Haley Aaron. What consequences does Kyle have to look forward to when the truth comes out? What will Kyle's betrayal cost him? Kyle Abbott has a huge price to pay. Kyle agreed to signing a contract with Victor Newman, Eric Braden, stating that he would not break Claire's heart. However, Claire's father died while Kyle was on this trip with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver. A trip that was orchestrated by Victor Newman, Eric Braden, and herself. Kyle is certainly going to regret his actions. Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, warned Kyle exactly what Audra was up to. However, Kyle swore that he could handle this. Audra was not going to get the best of him. Now Kyle can plan for this to come back and bite him. Kyle and Audra have tried to hide this loss of judgment. However, Kyle will pay dearly for that. Kyle Abbott's guilt will get to him. Kyle will certainly feel extremely guilty for what he has done.
Kyle.
It looks like Nick and Sharon finally get their second chance at love. However, both seem to beat around the bush, especially after that kiss in Nice. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon tells Nick they have a lot to talk about. What do we have to discuss? Nick asks, are we ever going to talk about that kiss? Sharon replies. He tells her they could talk about it or wait and see if it happens again, referring to the kiss. Watch The Young and the Restless, weekdays on CBS, for the Friday, August 1st episode of The Young and the Restless. Spoilers photos show things in Genoa City are just as chaotic as they were in France. There's no escaping the drama. Tessa, Kate Fairbanks, takes some downtime with her daughter and spends some time in the park with Arya. The pair soak in some fun in the sun and share some laughs, which is how Daniel finds them. Daniel looks thrilled to happen upon this lovely scene and jumps at the opportunity to join them. Are Daniel and Tessa getting too close for comfort? Later, the trio make their way to Crimson Lights where they run into Phyllis, Michelle Stafford. She's back from France and has much to discuss, but is now the time for all the stories? She could sit down and update her son, or she can stand there and argue with Diane, Susan Walters. We'll let you guess which one she chooses. Speaking of Diane, she and Jack, Peter Bergman, get themselves settled back into the mansion and bask in the glow of being home. It's nice to finally be in their own space and away from all the drama. Well, at least the France drama. The Young and the Restless spoilers here, and we're ready to get back to the daily business as usual in Genoa City. Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, will continue to surprise Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, as an ally. She'll be wary as he and Chelsea Newman, Melissa Claire Egan, will offer support to her and Claire Newman, Haley Aaron. He'll be open and honest with her as they agree to work together to protect the family. That's a good thing, especially as Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, will want to work with him to destroy Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson. And Victor won't care about Chelsea's feelings. No change there, but it'll be another test for Adam to toe the line or be gone. What will he choose? Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, will break the news to Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford, about Damian King, Jermaine Rivers' murder. She'll be heartbroken and blame herself. If she hadn't been selfish and wanted to reunite, he never would have met Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, and been murdered. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, July 30th. The Blame Game. The Young and the Restless spoilers expect a lot of grief, processing, and blame to be dished out for the next few weeks. Amy has been a footnote for a while as her role was to bring Damian into Genoa City, but she's brought the feels from the start. We've enjoyed watching her and Damian reconnect and looked forward to what was to come. Now, she's the grieving mother, and she's going to blame herself for her son's death. As with any parent, none want to outlive their children, and this is going to be a really difficult time for her. She may even blame Lily to some extent as she grieves. It looks like Adam's going to keep suffering under the no good deed goes unpunished philosophy. As soon as he promised to stand by Victoria and defend their family and company, Victor will want a war. It's nothing new, but after he condemns Kane and makes him gulp in fear, he'll declare they're going to destroy him and Billy. No more excuses. This is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Will Adam keep growing or bend the knee to Victor? Let us know in the comments below. Check back with the Young and the Restless spoilers for the latest updates, spoilers, and speculation around. For any other soap opera and entertainment news, please visit again Daily Soap Dish. The Post, The Young and the Restless spoilers. Nate comforts Amy. Victor threatens Kane and plots with Adam to destroy him, and Billy appeared first on Daily Soap Dish. The Young and the Restless spoiler reveal that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, will pay dearly for the horrible way he betrayed Claire Newman, Haley Aaron. What consequences does Kyle have to look forward to when the truth comes out? What will Kyle's betrayal cost him? Kyle agreed to signing a contract with Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, stating that he would not break Claire's heart. However, Claire's father died while Kyle was on this trip with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver. A trip that was orchestrated by Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, and herself. Kyle is certainly going to regret his actions. Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, warned Kyle exactly what Audra was up to. However, Kyle swore that he could handle this. Audra was not going to get the best of him. Now Kyle can plan for this to comes back and bite him. Kyle and Audra have. Kyle will have to face the fact that while he was in Nice getting it on with Audra. However, Claire has no idea that any of this has happened. Will she learn the truth? The truth will come out, probably delivered by Victor along with the contract signed by Kyle himself. Kyle will certainly feel bad for hurting Claire, but Victor will feel triumphant with his I told you so. Try as he might, Kyle will want to keep Claire in the dark, but there is no way this will happen. Kyle will be held accountable in the end. Claire Newman will not let this go. Claire will be devastated by Kyle's betrayal. How many times did she voice her concerns about Audra? How many times did Kyle dismiss her concerns? How many times did Victor warn her what was going to happen? Claire will be devastated, and Kyle will see that in her eyes. Kyle may have sworn that he loved Claire, but he certainly didn't prove it. Victor Newman will have his revenge. Kyle doesn't know what all Victor put in that contract because he never bothered to read it. However, Kyle agreed to pay Victor $5 million as well as agreeing to move away from Genoa City. Kyle agreed to this because he believed he could keep Audra away from him. What will Kyle do now that he has to face the consequences? Victor will certainly force Kyle to pay him the $5 million that he agreed to pay. However, Kyle may find a way to get out of leaving down. Unfortunately, Kyle must also face whatever fine print that Victor added. How much will Kyle's little tryst with Audra cost Kyle in the end? Come here for all things YNR. Check back often for the Young and the Restless news, spoilers, and updates. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Aria Porter Copeland, Millie and Maddie Ingalls returns, as well as Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks. It is also teased that Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford, finds out about Damian Kane's, Jermaine Rivers' death. Speaking of death, a major character gets killed off. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Amy Lewis devastation. Let's begin with Amy, who gets dealt a shocking blow during the week of July 28th. Lately, the scenes have been all about Kane Ashby's Billy Flynn mystery party. Fans might recall that Amy got a chill over her spine when Damian left for France. Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, will be the one to deliver the news to Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. Then, Nate delivers the news to Amy about her son. Expect to see Amy and Nate on Wednesday, July 30th. Aria Copeland Porter returns. Fans will ALS. The written spoilers teased that Tessa will get a little help from a new friend. At first, I was convinced this was someone other than Daniel since it said new friend. However, it sounds like Tessa might get some help from Daniel with Aria. Fans will see this on Friday, August 1st. Amanda Sinclair's stint continues. The Young and the Restless coming and goings reveal that during the week of July 28th, fans will continue to see Amanda Sinclair, Miss Hale Morgan. Amanda finally unjams the phone signals and then calls the police. Amanda tells Kane about it after the fact, but he isn't angry with her. Kane is angry about how everything fell apart, though. Kane did tell Lily that he isn't giving up on her and will be coming back to Genoa City. So, maybe we'll get to learn more about the new Kane. Week of July 28th, 2025. There will also be 2 exits, one a major character and one an expendable character. Carter, Vincent Stabla, will pull out a gun and use Lily as a human shield. At first, Carter points the gun at Kane, but then Chancellor, Connor Floyd, jumps in to save the day. Unfortunately, Chance dies instantly from a gunshot wound. Carter manages to run off. However, a bit later, Carter shoots himself rather than be taken in by the police. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of July 28, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Kane Ashby's, Billy Flynn, plan proved monumentally disastrous. 3 deaths turned his hopes of reconciling with Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, into the ultimate bad look instead. Lily was already disgusted by her former husband, who is also the father of their twins. That was before the death of Chancellor, Connor Floyd, at Carter's, Vincent Stalba, unstable hand. Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers, was murdered by Carter, who believed he was helping Kane. But that misguided outcome didn't open a path to Lily for Kane as Stalba's character hoped. Putting a knife in Damian Kane's back. Credit to the writing staff for taking what, in retrospect, was a purposefully sleepy storyline in a controlled remote setting. Kane's estate, which includes the maze, his office replete with monitoring devices and multiple train car compartments, was initially interesting. But viewers grew frustrated in parallel to the trapped character's agitation. The seeming intention of this stretch story was to create tension, which led to the stunning throw of a knife into Damian's back after he and Kane were drugged. The sight of Kane holding the suddenly dead Damian, while Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, happened upon them, was terrific television. That served to instantly reveal why the slow-drip, complex storyline was actually created. Lily Winters' life changes dramatically. Lily and Damian became close in recent months. The distrust she had for Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, revealed brother evolved into something unexpected. While Damian was smitten from the start, Lily needed time to develop her feelings. That eventually culminated in this realized couple sharing a night together in a train compartment. The natural implication is that Damian will live on through a child Lily will have conceived during their time together. Carter did realize his goal, as eliminating Damian means Lily is single. Kane made himself into a billionaire with his claimed late father's help. Colin Atkinson, Tristan Rogers, is said to have reformed his life before passing. Part of that effort included helping his son to achieve what is being presented as immense financial independence. Cain used his achieved wealth to orchestrate a meeting at his estate in the south of France. Cain's intention of taking control of all noteworthy businesses in Genoa City, Wisconsin, always seemed far-fetched. But his intended reunion with Lily is now possible despite her current feelings for him, though plenty of plot will need to play out to make that a realistic goal. Lily is in no mood to fall in love with Cain again. However, feelings will lighten once everyone returns to GC, Damien's and Chance's funerals are held, and summer and fall episodes play. Remnant love exists between Cain and Lily. The recast character Flynn now plays holds that card but will need patience as he restarts his life in what will be a created hostile environment. This site is a leading source for everything linked to The Young and the Restless. Check back regularly for YNR spoilers and news. The Young and the Restless. YNR. Spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, may face a heartbreaking twist. Will Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, regret the kiss they shared and reject his ex after his recovery? YNR fans know Nick faced a harrowing ordeal after a security guard fight led to him getting injured on that old trunk. Nick managed to survive his terrible gash with some. Between bonding with Sharon in captivity and seeing how caring she was during his crisis, Nick's feeling a lot right now. That's why Nick will urge Sharon to come closer before their lips meet for a kiss in the July 28th episode. Sharon will certainly enjoy that kiss, since she's been pining for Nick for so long. This may leave Sharon wondering if a real romantic reunion is still possible, but she may not want to get her hopes up just yet. After Nick gets the medical treatment he needs at the hospital, he'll have to address that kiss with Sharon in the aftermath. Whether Sharon brings it up or Nick mentions it instead, it's something they'll need to talk about. Unfortunately, YNR spoilers say some complications are brewing for Nick and Sharon. Things will get messy for these exes on July 30th, so that doesn't sound like good news for Sharon and Nick's future. Nick might admit he wasn't really in his right mind since he was in so much pain and pretty out of it. If Nick had been thinking more clearly, he probably wouldn't have crossed that passionate line with Sharon. Nick may break Sharon's heart if he suggests forgetting that kiss happened and sticking to their friendship status. All Sharon's hope could be ripped away in an instant if Nick decides that lip lock was a mistake. Even if Sharon says she agrees with Nick to avoid embarrassment, she surely won't mean it. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon could have some heartache coming up, so stay tuned for updates on whatever mess is brewing with Nick. SOS will have other terrific Young and the Restless spoilers, updates, and news to read up on, so check back often for more details. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Cain Ashby's, Billy Flynn, plan proved monumentally disastrous. 3 deaths turned his hopes of reconciling with Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, into the ultimate bad look instead. Lily was already disgusted by her former husband, who is also the father of their twins. That was before the death of Chancellor Connor Floyd at Carter's, Vincent Stalba, unstable hand. Damien Cain, Jermaine Rivers, was murdered by Carter, who believed he was helping Cain. But that misguided outcome didn't open a path to Lily for Cain as Stalba's character hoped. Putting a knife in Damien Cain's back. Credit to the writing staff for taking what, in retrospect, was a purposefully sleepy storyline in a controlled remote setting. Cain's estate, which includes the maze, his office replete with monitoring devices and multiple train car compartments, was initially interesting.